So in that last video, I hit you guys the pretty banger theory, one specifically that kind of surrounded Larfleeze and some of the stuff going on. If you want to see that, check that out. I heavily recommend it because it leads into this video. But that being said, one of the major things I focused upon inside that video is the fact that emotional entities are kind of showing up. And for those who don't know, all the emotional entities should be gone at bare minimum because Kyle delivered them to the emotional reservoir back in the New 52 whenever he fought Relic. So like, how are the emotional entities here exactly? And which ones are confirmed to already be back? Let's find out. Now, if we're talking about emotional entities, we have to talk about the OG, the original, the first one that made its appearance inside the comics in the actual timeline of things. And of course, that's Parallax. If you want to see more information on the resurrection of Parallax and its details, I do have a full video for that. I'm sure I'll get that link down low or in the top right corner or something. But yeah, I do have a full video on what's going on with how Parallax returned, but needless to say, it's a pretty wild story. It was a 0-hour 30th anniversary special edition where we basically, over this massive storyline, wind up getting Parallax either having returned or having been in its fully completed form back to its complete jacked self, and it's looking to start manipulating things in the universe again. So clearly Parallax is rolled back up in full force because he's been nerfed ever since 0 Hour apparently, and he's going to be making shit happen. Of course, we know he's afraid of Sinestro. He's trying to get back at him for all the years Sinestro made him his slave, so I'm curious to see what exactly goes on with everything to do with him. And I do have a personal theory. I think Kilowog might be involved with being his host, but those will be things for down the way once we get there inside this Green Lantern run. That being said, clearly we have Parallax back, but who's this other dude in the thumbnail? So at the end of one of these newest Green Lantern chapters, we actually have Carol Ferris fly away in a ship with a ton of civilians trying to escape the madness of Red Lantern Mogo from Thanagar, and in the middle of them flying away, something catches this ship, and right now there's a break in the community on exactly what it is. Some people believe it's a construct from Lord Premier Tharos, aka DC Palpatine, but I'm not on board on that actually. I actually think this, especially based on its appearance, I'm sure I'll throw some 6 splash arts of this bad boy up here, but I actually think this is the Predator, weirdly enough. The captain even calls specifically for Carol, although she is the only superpowered being on the ship right now, so who knows, maybe he was just asking for anybody who could help. But the Predator kind of rolls up to the ship, and this is kind of weird because the last time we saw the Predator was with all of the other entities that exist, and as I had briefly touched up upon before, the emotional reservoirs in existence, because out past the source wall there are just emotional reservoirs that fuel the universe, it was running dry. And so Kyle took all the emotional entities, flew them out in there, and basically, in his words, sacrificed them to the source itself in order to maintain like the concept of emotions throughout all of existence. And the Predator was in that. And no reason for them to be here, but we'll get to my theories on exactly what's going on with that down the way. And for those of you still doubting me, we actually get confirmation of this in spoilers for the next few Green Lanterns as well, that this is indeed the Predator itself. So hope you guys are pumped to see the Predator back, because I am too. Okay, now this one is just straight up Theory Town, so do not freak out if this one doesn't come true. I lightly referenced some of these events back in my last Larfleeze video, so definitely check that bad boy out. But basically, Larfleeze has built this central power battery on his home turf, and there's no reason for him to need a central power battery whatsoever. The only thing he's ever kept in a battery was an entity, as a matter of fact. And this battery was huge. It wasn't like the personalized battery he used to keep Ophidian in back in the day, like the one that Hector Hammond had jacked from him by eating the lantern itself. No, this was something entirely different. It looked closer to the Green Lantern central power battery, and I can't understand A, how he built it, because he shouldn't have the knowledge to do it, but B, why. The only thing I can speculate as to is Ophidian might have come back and he was looking for a new prison for it, because he had problems keeping him inside that battery whenever he had first got him there, because Ophidian was apparently kind of on the jacked side of things. I mean, he was capable of possessing Hector Hammond and destroying Larfleeze and Hal, so all things to consider. But either way, pure speculation. I think this would be a dank move if they wanted to do it, but who knows, honestly. You can't really tell anymore. This comic run is kind of unhinged, man. Okay, so you guys heard me a few times reference that Kyle Rayner pulling a full-on space Jesus and throwing himself through the wall to replenish the emotional reservoirs by sacrificing all the entities. Well, maybe Kyle's wrong. Oh, whoa, yo, I could hear you all now. Yo, wait a minute, a Green Lantern fan said White Lantern Kyle Rayner is wrong? Okay, bear with me, just chill, okay. I actually do think Kyle's wrong here, and I have some level of evidence as proof. So, weirdly enough, of all the comics to go to, we go to a freaking Smallville comic. And yes, before all of you ask, Smallville is indeed inside DC canon, so it is indeed canonized. But, that being said, there's this moment inside this Smallville series where Superman crosses over with a ton of Lantern stuff. Hal Jordan dies, Guy dies, John Stewart gets infected by Parallax. It's like this wild run, and Superman winds up fighting this John Stewart possessed Parallax, right? And during the battle, a bunch of Green Lanterns show up, and because Parallax was just so messed up, they create a portal to the source itself. Do not question how, they're freaking random Green Lanterns, okay? Like, Sinestro's daughter is here. No clue how they do this, but they just do, okay? And then, a bunch of entities are still on the other side. And it's Ion who rolls up from the other side of that barrier into the source and drags, like, Parallax back into that place. So, I wonder if whenever Kyle thought he was sacrificing them, they just went out there and just kind of chilled for a while. And now they're making it back. Or maybe we could take more of like a new god kind of approach, where much like the rest of the god, like the new gods, anytime they die, their existence is essentially brought to the source, and later on they are reborn wherever the source like deems it necessary. So we could be seeing a situation like that, but there's no details on how they've returned. Something important to note is we know that existence was reverted to before the events of any of the metal shit. Who knows? Maybe other things were reverted past that, like the entities having been sacrificed, even though we're kind of back where we were. Maybe whenever they rebooted creation, they refilled those emotional reservoirs and just allowed the entities to keep existing. We're not entirely sure, if I'm being 100% honest, and I'm not sure we'll ever get a real answer whenever it comes to these things. But my thoughts on this is that these are all awesome ideas. Something that I really enjoy is the fact that I would like to think that the larger the multiverse gets, the more people that are in it, the more emotions exist, not just from humans, but from gods, from concepts, of all sorts of things, okay? And the more powerful they are, the more powerful the entities are. So the entity showing up now should be extremely powerful after the events of Dark Crisis, where the cosmology got much larger, and Death Metal, where they said it's been the largest it's ever been. So the entity should be crazy powerful, and they've always been an awesome driving force throughout the majority of Lantern stories. I mean, even back before they were even designed, unironically, back with like Parallax Hal Jordan, before they explained away his madness. So I'm really excited to see the entities returning, and tell me what you guys think down low, because it can't just be me hyping on this stuff, dude. So like and subscribe, become a Lantern, become a Theromax Corps member if you're really feeling like a homie, because those are the guys who support me and make content like this even possible, because I still work a 9 to 5, homies. I'm just here to make stuff for you guys because, I mean, you're requesting it. And that being said, tell me which entity you're the most excited for showing back up, and we'll catch you next time, Lanterns. Later.
You'll join my list of dead after I tear you in half. And I laughed at the thought of them controlling me. I'm the ultimate dragon that spawned everything. I resist and defy.